Well, Phil, there's no Justice today other than he's in the background producing today's show. But this is,
Yes.
well, hell, it's Unplugged with me, Ray, and you, Phil. How the hell are you?
We're here, doing awesome. It's Friday, and we're gonna talk EV stuff.
Uh,
Ah,
yeah, we're back after, like, I don't know, it felt like a 3-year hiatus. Uh,
it kind of feels like that.
but we're back. And before we get started, apparently, Justice is going to Clickbait University as well, because I love today's headline: the Honda Prologue EV, Tesla killer or destined to fail, or as someone suggested, how about neither? I don't know about you, Phil, but I think the only thing that could kill Tesla is Tesla itself.
That you are absolutely correct, and
Okay.
they're here to stay. Like there
Uh,
is nothing that's gonna kill them.
well, the only thing that might kill him is that Cybertruck. But
Ah, now if Justice was here, those would be fighting words. I'm telling
well,
you.
I know they would be. I know they would be fighting words. I understand that. And I just, if the Cybertruck becomes the design cue for all future Tesla product,
Oh, I hope not.
then
Oh,
I think that could kill
okay.
Tesla.
Okay.
Okay?
I will agree with you on that 100%.
Yes,
100%.
yes, because that Cybertruck is the troll doll of automobiles. It is so ugly. It is so ugly that, well, we think they're cute. But their popularity was, if you remember about troll dolls, was really short-lived.
Yeah,
So,
it really was. It really was. Absolutely.
so
But you
have,
do like the Model Y though, Ray, as
well,
just implied. We can talk about that because I love to talk
we
about that.
we should talk about that. I know Stuart asked, how was Detroit?
Yep.
Detroit was Detroit was wonderful. It was. Let me preface this by saying that I absolutely abhor auto shows. I can't stand them. Okay. I spent 40 some years of my life working in dealerships and looking at damn cars every day. And the thought of, on my off time, going to look at more cars, well, that just doesn't appeal to me. But having said that, we had so much fun in Detroit. We had so much fun at the auto show. I mean, we did a pretty piss poor live stream direct from the auto show on Zach's phone last Friday.
I mean, you did okay.
Well, it just showed to me that could really be good if we had, like,
The
I
right
don't,
equipment.
if the right equipment and it was done professionally. But it was great fun, and
It was.
Justice made it a point to rent a Tesla Model Y, and there is video that he shot of me driving that Model Y. And he had me put it in self-drive mode or whatever the hell it was. And
Yeah, you did try that for a very short period of time, right? We were
yeah,
on the freeway. Yep.
it's because it scared the poop out of me. I just did not feel comfortable, like, just having my hands hovering over the wheel
Yeah.
and actually depending on the car to do what it is that it was supposed to do. Now, you, God bless you, when you drove it, you were much braver than me, and you actually let it do its thing. I just
did.
remember when we were getting off the highway, and it just felt like, A, we're going too fast, and B, it ain't turning the wheel enough.
Yeah.
That I had enough. Okay.
Yep.
And I believe somebody asked me once we parked the car, what did I think? Did you like driving it? I said, enough that I'll never
Exactly.
drive it again.
The weirdest. So The self-driving feature, it's the technology is really neat.
Yes,
The whole concept of it really is cool. It's
yes,
cool to experience.
yes,
Maybe not so much in your case, but like it because there is a lot of anxiety around that. And even when I was driving it, I still had my hand I didn't have both of them, like there, but I at least had my hand right there ready to grab
mhm,
and, take control at like a moment's notice. And, because you just can't I, I just couldn't release all control just to say, "Oh, I'm just gonna like, whatever," and let the car do its thing without me being ready to like grab control. But the technology is neat. It did a fairly decent job
yes.
of keeping the car in the lane, maintaining distance from the car in front of you. It did generally a very good job at it. So impressive piece of technology. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, it was the software is phenomenal.
Hmm.
Okay. The technology is phenomenal. The car is a piece of crap. I have never
I was waiting for you to
ridden,
bring that up.
yeah, I have never ridden in anything that rattles as much as that Model Y did. I mean, it doesn't take bumps well. It rattles. The harshness, the vibration. It was it's loud. And Justice's rationale for why it was loud is because, well, we didn't have the radio on, drowning out all the noise. Well, you'd have to have the radio on full volume to drown out all the noise. And and I don't know what you do to make it ride nicer. Um, but software and technology wise, wonderful vehicle.
Yep.
Build and quality and ride wise, uh, I don't know.
So road noise is always going to be there, right? You're
Yes,
always going to have some sort of road noise. But when we talk about rattles and all that stuff, your radio typically is not going to be drowning that kind of stuff out unless you've got that pumped all the way up. And
yes,
I can promise you, engine noise is not going to drown out any sort of rattles that you're going to hear inside of your car.
yes,
This one, look, uh, Tesla is not, you know, we all know it's not the highest in quality per se. There
fit
are
and finish.
other fit and finishes off. I've seen multiple issues with the car on that,
Yes,
but at the end of the day, it's not really what the car is about. But it just was, when you're spending that kind of money to get into, something like that, you'd expect it to, like, I think this one had like 47,000 miles on it, um, and you would expect it to kind of hold together a little bit better than it actually is doing. Now, to credit the car,
yes,
we were sitting on 21-inch rims,
yes.
and the rubber that we were sitting on was probably had about 2 inches of actual rubber that we were sitting on,
Yeah, low
and
profile tires
and
that
low
translates into
profile
a
tires.
harsher
Yes.
ride. I get it.
Yep. Yep. So that contributed to a very harsh ride. Ashley, I didn't forget our experience that we had in DC. First getting into that, I learned my lesson and completely knew right where that car needed to go.
Um,
Yes.
I must say, you handled the regenerative braking
Oh,
much
that.
better than I did. Um, but it was that I was making everybody nauseous in the car because, I've just been driving ICE cars for, I don't know, 60, 50 some years. Uh, so it was hard for me to not take my foot off it's not the gas in a Tesla, off the accelerator, and not want to hit the brake. But I didn't have to hit the brake because it just it threw everybody
Yeah.
back because and so that took a little getting used to. And then somebody asked me why I stopped a half a block away from the stoplight, but that was only because the car slowed itself down. You really do have to learn how to drive it. You did a much better job of that than I did. I
Well,
I want to
Yeah.
say I think it's because you're younger than me, and
Well,
you're
no,
more
I'm not gonna.
adaptable than I am.
No. Where I'm gonna go with this is that I had experience with actually driving one and got a little used to it.
Okay.
I'm gonna chalk it up to that,
Okay.
and it just yeah. So
And may I say, on Friday night we went out to dinner to a lovely restaurant, Giovanni's Ristorante in Detroit, which was one of the most memorable meals I've ever had in my life.
it was really good.
And I would fly to Detroit just to go to dinner there. And there were 5 adults that drove back in the Tesla
Oh my gosh.
from the restaurant to
Yep.
the hotel. Okay. There was now in the back seat was Phil and Jerry and Justice. Now,
I
Phil,
was like this.
you're pretty svelte, of the 3 people in the back seat. You're in the best shape and the thinnest of the 3. But I never saw 3 adult human beings more uncomfortable in the back seat of a vehicle than I did in the back seat of that Model Y. I mean, that
Yep.
was unbelievable how uncomfortable you 3 looked.
It was uncomfortable, and Zach was driving, right?
Yes.
So I think he got the regenerative part pretty well. So if it was someone else driving and didn't know how that would work, oh my God, sitting back there would have been even more worse with someone who didn't know how to use that regen.
I would almost suggest to you that the 3 of you gentlemen would have fit more comfortably in the back seat of my Clubman than you did in the back seat of that Tesla.
Yeah.
And your
I
wife
would
drives
agree.
a Clubman,
Yep.
Yeah. So as far as the cars,
Oh my
concerned,
gosh.
the seatbelts were.
I forgot about that, Justice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They locked up so easily. And oh my God. And it kept on tugging you back the more that you tried to push it forward. Well, I mean, obviously we had to unhook it to actually let it release, but
Yes.
oh my gosh. I mean, it wanted to hold you in, and it didn't want to let you go.
Yes. Yeah. And we should all dream to have women like that, that hang on that tight. The goal in life is to have a woman want to hold on to you as tight as that damn Tesla seat.
That's it. You are absolutely correct.
I will say, impressed with the technology, impressed with the software. You can keep the damn car. Okay, that's just me.
Yes.
And all you Tesla fanboys out there, all you Tesla lovers out there, I think you're just convincing yourself that it's really a wonderful vehicle because you don't want to feel like you were taken advantage of. It is. There are so many other vehicles that ride so much nicer than that Tesla does. But that
it just, it leads me to, it has me thinking about if I'm looking to go spend $100,000 on what is the S, I think it is the Model S.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
When you're pushing up towards like the Plaid model and whatnot, and the SUV version, which one's that? Gosh,
The
I can't
X?
keep them all straight.
The X,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are what, $100,000 too. It's like seeing what we experienced,
Yes.
like what you could potentially think about when you're going to buy $100,000 car and getting that kind of quality. It's tough, it didn't put Tesla in a good light when I'm thinking about that. And Justice, yes, I know we were in that particular car. What I'm just saying is that if the quality is so poor in that aspect, it just, what do you expect when you get into the 100,000?
Yeah. Why would you think it would be any better than the 100,000?
Right. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to crap talk on Tesla. That's not really what I'm trying to do. I just wish that it was just a bit better on the quality. The technology and software is awesome. It's just the quality.
Yes. So having spoken about our Tesla experience, let's talk about the Honda Prologue. Because apparently the automotive world thinks it's a big damn deal that Honda is going to come out with, well, the GM based EV. Okay, it is built on a GM platform, the Ultium.
Yeah, the Blazer
platform.
EV, right?
Yeah. And so it's going to have a Honda name on it and a Honda badge. And allegedly they hope it gets a 300-mile range. But just between you and me, Phil, I don't know what the big deal is that everybody's going, well, it's a Honda. Who cares? Why does that matter?
Because everyone's been waiting for Honda to come out with one.
I'm not often speechless.
I'm glad I did that today.
you did. Yeah, everybody's waiting because it's a Honda. Okay. They're not known for their electric vehicles.
No, not at all. No. Hence the reason why they have to partner with GM, because they can't make their own.
Okay. So I'm going back. Why is this like such an earth-shattering thing that the Honda Prologue is going to come out in the spring of next year? Oh, it's a Tesla alternative.
Yeah.
Well, okay. It's bigger than the Y, isn't it? I believe it's like 5 inches bigger than the Y. And I'm just guessing. I don't know this for a fact, but I'll guess it could seat 3 regular-sized adult human beings in the back seat comfortably. I'm just guessing. I don't know that for a fact.
I'd go along with that.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, yep. I mean, it looks like a lovely vehicle. If you want to show some of the pictures, yeah, I mean, it absolutely looks like a lovely vehicle, but
yep, it actually does look good. Now, I like the look and the proportions and size of the Chevy Blazer, so I might be a bit biased in looking at this.
Yes.
But I think overall it looks good. Now, most Honda people are going to look at this and they're going to have no idea that this is built off of a GM platform.
Yes.
And are going to look, okay, Honda finally has one out. This is, we're going to go out and get it because it's got the name Honda on it. But they're not going to be the wiser that it's on a GM platform.
And does that really matter?
No.
That it's on a GM platform? I mean,
no. I don't.
Let me compare it to OLED televisions for a second.
Yes, okay? Let's do that.
I have a Sony OLED TV. Okay. You know who makes the screen itself?
There's number one, Samsung and LG.
Yes, and so when it comes to the Sony, they use the LG.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So, but Sony has different software. They tweak it differently than LG does, and then Samsung does. So it doesn't matter to me that it's really an LG display. What matters to me is the software associated with that LG display to make it work better. So why I don't care that the Honda would be on a GM platform if the Honda engineers and software developers make it ride and drive and feel better than the comparable GM product would.
Sure. And it's all about the experience, right? So like when you look at that software on your on the Sony,
yes,
you get an experience based on the software that they put into it, the operating system that they use, right?
exactly.
So that can differentiate the same panel, right? So
Yes.
you're looking at the same panel, but the software differentiates. Same thing here, kind of
Yes.
like just what you're talking about. It looks, feels like a Honda,
Yeah.
and that's all it needs to be.
It will have, I am certain it will have Honda characteristics, just like
Yep,
a Sony TV has Sony TV characteristics. It doesn't matter what platform it's on. It's how that platform is tweaked to make it have the
exactly.
Honda characteristics. So
Yep.
do we see the Honda Prologue or somebody else's version of an electric vehicle really having a major impact um, against Tesla? I mean, because they're saying it's going to start in the upper 40s.
Yeah.
Upper 40s to me is like $47,000, $48,000. That ain't cheap.
Yeah. No, it isn't cheap. So they're starting on the high end.
Yeah.
So it's not going to impact Tesla.
I don't see how
No.
it will.
No.
I honestly
Could
don't.
have put a dent, maybe, but it's not going to.
First of all, will they be able to produce it in the numbers that would be required in order for it to put a dent in Tesla sales? And A, I don't know the answer to that. And B, are there enough Honda customers out there who are so moved by Honda that they say to themselves, I can't wait to get a Honda electric vehicle, when Honda is well known for its technology in ICE engine development. And,
That is
and
true.
one of the reasons that people buy Hondas is because of the ICE engines in those and the advancements that they have made in their engine. So are those the same people that are saying, oh, I can't wait to get a Honda electric vehicle? I don't know.
Probably not, but I'm still going to bet that there's there's going to be a fan base within Honda that is waiting and interested in purchasing an EV unit.
Okay.
And one of the other benefits, obviously, that they're sharing this with GM is that it should qualify for the tax credit.
Who the hell knows? I mean, really, who knows? Nobody seems to know. And then next year, when the tax credit is supposed to be passed along like a down payment from the government,
Yeah.
the dealers are concerned that, well, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but the dealers are concerned that, well, the government's going to be slow pay when it comes to sending that money to the dealerships. And dealerships live and die on cash flow.
Yes, they do.
One of the things that dealer principals look at the most on vehicles that are sold is something called contracts in transit, CITs. What that means is the dealer is concerned about the amount of time it takes to send the contract to the bank and for the bank to then fund that contract so that the dealer can have that cash on hand. Okay.
Yep.
Dealer principals don't want to hear that after 72 hours they haven't gotten paid yet. Well, I can't assure you of much, but I can assure you the government ain't paying nobody in 72 hours or less.
No way. No way.
No way. And hell, if we don't fund the government, they're not paying anybody.
That is true.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct.
I mean, that for dealers has to be the biggest fear ever is, it takes so much cash on hand to run a dealership. And to have hundreds of thousands of dollars that you might be waiting on to come in from the federal government. That doesn't bode for a dealership.
No, you don't want to be sitting waiting for that. I mean, look, in any business, right? When you're having to wait on checks for people to pay you, you
Yes.
don't know. You want it. You want your cash as soon as possible. Waiting on it is not a good. It's not good for business. Let's just say.
No, and dealerships traditionally pay twice a month, pay their employees twice a month, the 15th and the
Yeah.
end of the month.
Yeah.
Well, if you're waiting on money to come in from the government, you might not be able to cover payroll. I mean, people have no idea how cash intensive a dealership really is.
I mean,
This is a big concern moving forward, and this starts allegedly January 1st, where those tax credits will be able to be passed on as be able to be utilized as like cash down, and the government sends the money to the dealer once the dealer submits the proper paperwork to get paid.
So it's going to be not only our dealers having to have a floor plan line, they're going to have a significant other line of credit to an operations line of credit to be able to, pay their expenses and be able to hold that over until they start getting all of their tax money in or credit money in.
And Igor's absolutely correct. I mean, dealers right now they're waiting on hundreds of thousands of dollars in stair-step bonus payouts from the manufacturers. And you go a whole month selling cars and you got to hit your number, and then you know that there's a big payday at the end, but the payday is not like instant. You can't be waiting on your manufacturer to forward that money to you that you're supposed to be getting, and the federal government to be forwarding that money to you. This could be, I don't know what the solution will be. As a sales manager, I would just go, hey, I'd go to my dealer principal and say, you figure it out. I just know that I'm going to pass it through to the customer. You figure out how the hell we get paid. Okay. Right. Because the customer is expecting to get that as a reduction or as a down payment. It's almost like a rebate.
I'd almost be saying, let's push people into leases, because that'll be on the lender at that time.
Exactly.
For the tax credit to get, passed through. So It's like, heck, let's push them into leases.
That might make the most sense, but this is going to be a big problem going forward.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess, and I know you only have 30 minutes today, because, well, you're busy. You're a busy man, much busier.
Working on our concierge program, Ray.
Well, that is a wonderful thing.
I love it.
Yes, and I think the public out there is going to love it.
Yes, it's gonna be a great program.
Do you foresee any EVs out there that are coming out that will create enough public excitement for people to say, I gotta have it?
I personally don't see anything that's gonna be. I just don't.
Neither do I. I mean, I keep complaining that every one of these damn things, they all look alike. Number one, the styling is so generic that they all look alike. I mean, I just don't know of anything that's so exciting to the general public out there where people are going to go, hey, go ahead.
I could turn to Igor and say, for him, it would be the Cybertruck that he's going to turn around and flip it and make some cash on.
Yeah,
so that's.
but let me say this about the Cybertruck, and I believe this to be true, that there are enough initial customers that want that, and as that vehicle becomes more mainstream and you see it more often, and you realize just how flippin' ugly it is, that that the market for that is going to dry up. Okay,
It will.
There's only a small percentage of the population that's going to look at that truck and say, I got to have it. And all you people are going to buy it right away. And then there isn't going to be a market for it any further.
Yeah.
Because
No, you're right.
it's just too ugly. It is too off-putting. It's just, there's no middle ground. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. There's nothing in between.
Yep.
There's no fence sitting.
Stuart just mentioned something, and I would actually agree. Sports cars, like if they actually start developing something that is exciting, something that, I've always gone back and said what I'm going to miss about it when we make the transition is the lack of a soul, something car that just has character, and leaving Cybertruck out of this, but something that is just looks different, feels different, not your mainstream kind of Tesla Roadster. Okay, sure. But one car that actually comes to mind, it isn't a full EV, but the new Corvette that's going to come out that has the hybrid in it, I think that's going to be a phenomenal vehicle. The first Corvette that's going to have all-wheel drive, and it's paired with an EV. I'm super excited. I'm super excited about that vehicle. Although it's not a full EV, it kind of it puts together the best of both worlds in a great package. I'm actually looking forward to something like that.
Okay, well, you'll probably be the first one on the Car Age team that has one.
Not for the price that they're asking for it, Ray.
Well,
no way.
You'll have to have a conversation with Zach.
Right.
Get it as part of a bonus plan of some kind.
Yeah, right.
Well, we've kept you too long, Phil. We're at 32 and a half minutes. I know you've got other stuff you need to do today.
And you need lunch.
Yes. I want to thank you for doing this. I want to thank you for helping to bring back Car Edge Electric Unplugged after what felt like a 4-year hiatus. Justice, thank you for producing. And my hope is, Justice, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll be back here Tuesday with more Car Edge Electric Unplugged. So in the meantime, everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Tuesday. Thanks again, Phil.
Yep, you're welcome. See you, everybody.
Well, that was fun.